Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking through some player props I like on Prizepicks for the Week 3 college football slate. Got a big slate of games this Saturday, guys. Going to give you guys 3 plays I'm liking for these Saturday games, and as always, we're going to break down these plays and we're going to share why I like them. Now, before we do get started, make sure that you guys hit that like button down below. If you enjoy these Prizepicks videos, hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel, if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, make sure that you go sign up. Use that promo code NOAH. When you do sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and play $5, you're going to get $50 worth of free lineups instantly added to your account. Not only are you going to get free lineups, but you're also going to get a free square. Right now, Prizepicks does have a free square for NFL. I know this is a college football video, but you could still take the NFL free square and play it with college football plays. If you want to take the college football plays I give out in this video and pair that with the free square, you can do so. But right now, Travis Kelce's receiving yards prop is discounted down to 0.5, and this is a free pick for everyone, new users and existing users. So if you don't have an account on Prizepicks, this is just another incentive to sign up right now. Prizepicks has been doing a lot of promotions for the NFL season, for college football. You want to be taking advantage of these promotions because it's the easiest way to make money, on these DFS pick'em apps, is playing the free squares, the discounts when they are available. So again, guys, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, go sign up. Use that promo code NOAH when you do. And then also, I do want to give a quick shout out to Sleeper because we do have a partnership with Sleeper as well. And you guys can go sign up for Sleeper. You can use promo code NOAH over there and get your first deposit matched up to $100. So whatever you put in on your first deposit, Sleeper will match it up to $100. If you want to deposit $100, they'll give you an additional $100 to play with. So now you have a $200 bankroll to work with, and you can try and start to build up that bankroll over on Sleeper. But if you guys don't know what Sleeper is, they're just a DFS pick'em app, very similar to Prizepicks, where you pick more or less on player projections. You build out your lineup. You can do up to an 8-pick lineup on Sleeper, win up to 100 extra money. Sleeper does also offer college football, so you can do college football plays over there. Check them out, guys. Download the Sleeper app and make sure that you use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up for Sleeper. But yeah, man, we got 3 picks here to talk about for this college football slate on Saturday for Week 3. Now, I do want to recap our plays from our last video on last Saturday for Week 2. We gave out 3 picks last Saturday, went 2-3, hit 2 of our 3 plays. Unfortunately, missed out on the full sweep. We did hit on Walker Eggett over pass yards. We hit on Nico Iamaleava over fantasy score. But unfortunately, we missed on Bear Botmeyer over fantasy score. That was the play that missed for us. And sadly, that was a play that I also gave out on Patreon. We gave out 6 plays on Patreon and went 5 for 6. And that was the one play that missed for us. We went 6 for 6 on our Patreon plays in Week 1, 5 for 6 in Week 2. So, we've been doing really well with the college football plays. Unfortunately, Botmeyer let us down last week. Would have had that full sweep. But we're going to get back at it here for Week 3, guys. Again, I got 3 plays I'm liking this week. Let's go ahead and talk about these plays and break them down. So the first prop that I do like for college football for Saturday is a fantasy score. College football fantasy scores are probably like my favorite stat type to play on Prizepicks because there's a ton of edge with college football fantasy scores. Now, these lines do move very quickly. And by the time you're watching this video, there's a good chance these lines may have moved. Hopefully they won't have. But with college football fantasy score, there's a huge edge because these are lines that Prizepicks has to come up with themselves. They can't just pull these lines directly from sportsbooks. And when Prizepicks has to make the lines themselves, there's always going to be an edge. And the fantasy score line that I think looks pretty good on Saturday, the first one I'm liking is Haynes King. We're going to take him for more than 19.5 fantasy score. Now, Haynes King has always been a very good quarterback for fantasy purposes because he just does everything in this Georgia Tech offense. He's a decent passer and he's a really good runner. And anytime you can get quarterbacks that give you rushing upside, that just makes them so valuable for fantasy. If you look at his game last week against Colorado, he only threw for 143 yards against Colorado, but he had 37 fantasy points because he ran for 156 yards and he had 3 rushing touchdowns. Now, can you expect Haynes King to run for 156 yards and have 3 rushing touchdowns again? Obviously, that was an outlier, but that just shows you the upside that he has from a fantasy perspective. Even if he doesn't have a great game as a passer, he can make up for it with his legs. And if he's not having a great game as a runner, he can still get you there as a passer. Now, this matchup against Clemson on paper is definitely a tough spot, but Clemson's defense has not looked as sharp this season as people expected them to be. I mean, last week they damn near lost at home against Troy. I mean, they only beat Troy by like 11 points when they were favored by like 30 points. They lost week 1 against LSU. Like, Clemson just hasn't looked as sharp. And I love that this game's being played in Georgia Tech. I think that makes it a lot more likely that this game stays close. I think with Georgia Tech playing at home, they could potentially pull off an upset here. I mean, this game only has like a 3-point spread, so it's projected to be a close game. And I want to say the total in this game is pretty high. Right now, the total is at 51.5, so there's expected to be a good amount of points scored in this game. And Haynes King, again, just such a good fantasy quarterback because of how he can get you fantasy points as a passer and as a runner. And if we just look at his props for Saturday and look at where his lines are set at, so they have his pass yards prop set at 188.5. So let's just give him like 180 pass yards. That puts him about around 7 or 8 fantasy points off of pass yards. And then he has a 49.5 rush yards prop. So he's projected to get you about 5 points from his rush yards. So he's projected for about 12 to 13 points from yards alone. And then we have to factor in touchdowns. I think there's a pretty good chance he throws at least 1 touchdown. He's a goblin, so that means he's favored to throw 1 touchdown here. And I think he's got a pretty good chance to also get a rushing touchdown. Now, we don't have a rushing touchdown prop up for King, but I'm pretty sure his odds to score a rushing touchdown are favored towards the over. I can actually take a look at that real quick just to confirm. But typically, King is going to be favored to get a rushing touchdown because of how they use him. Like, anytime Georgia Tech gets near the red zone and in goal line situations, they use Haynes King a lot as a runner, near the goal line and in the red zone. And right now, FanDuel has King minus 125 for an anytime touchdown. So he's slight favorite to score a rushing touchdown here. If he has a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown to go along with the yards he gets, that's probably going to be enough for him to go over this fantasy score line. And like I said, I think this game has some shootout potential. It's got a pretty high total. Do like the spot for Haynes King. I know the matchup on paper looks a bit tough against Clemson, but King is a really good quarterback. He's experienced. I think that, he's a senior, so he's got a ton of experience. And I know these two teams did play 2 years ago at Clemson, and Haynes King was terrible in that game. He threw like 4 interceptions. But that was a different Clemson team 2 years ago, better, different defense, and that game was being played at Clemson, which is a tough, place to go play. Again, like I said, at home in Georgia Tech here, I think that makes it a lot more likely that, King plays better at home, that Georgia Tech offense as a whole just performs better at home. And I think it's a good spot overall for Haynes King. So we're going to take him for more than 19.5 fantasy score as our first play for Saturday. Now, the next play that I like is a prop on Jacoby Williams. Well, damn, we were going to take him for more than 13.5 receiving yards, but that line got juiced up a ton. This was a prop that I already gave out on my Patreon. So Patreon got it at 13.5. At 22.5, I'm not going to recommend it at 22.5. So we're actually going to find a new play. There's a couple other plays I like that we can go ahead and give out. So we'll find a different play to give out. Another play that I do like besides that prop on Williams, which I definitely would not take that now at 22.5. It was 13.5 literally right before I started recording the video. So they bumped it like as I was recording the video. But one of the other plays I do like for Saturday is Byron Brown. And we're going to take him for more than 18.5 fantasy score. So Byron Brown is another quarterback kind of similar to Haynes King. So, super mobile, gives you a lot of upside just because he can not only do it as a passer, but he can also do it as a runner. And if you look at Byron Brown this season, he has gone over this line in both of his games this season. And this South Florida offense has looked really good, even in kind of some tougher spots. They faced Boise State, a ranked team, in week 1, and Byron Brown was really good in that game. He threw for 210 yards against Boise State, also had 43 rush yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. And then last week against Florida, another tough spot. South Florida went out there and played well. Byron Brown played well too. In that game, he threw for 263 yards and a touchdown, and also ran for 66 yards. So Byron Brown, just another guy that can do it both as a passer and as a runner. Now, sure, this spot against Miami also looks like a tough spot on paper, but I think we're getting a lower line on Byron Brown here because of the matchup. But I'm fully buying into this South Florida team and Byron Brown as well. Like, Byron Brown's an experienced quarterback. Pretty sure he's a senior, so like this is his 4th year. He's a guy that has a ton of experience under his belt. He's played really well for this South Florida team this season at least. And last season, he didn't play a ton last season because I think he was injured last season, but he was decent when he played last season. He's been really good this season. High completion percentage, running for yards, been good as a passer. And we just look at his props for this game on Saturday. So kind of similar to Haynes King. He's projected for about 12 to 13 points off of pass yards and rush yards. has a pretty good chance to throw at least one touchdown. He's favored for for a passing touchdown, and then he's also a pretty good chance to have a rushing touchdown as well. Right now, there's no rushing touchdown prop on Brown on Prizepicks except for 1.5. But I can take a look at his odds to score a touchdown, and I would assume he's probably favored to get a rushing touchdown as well, just because very similar to how Georgia Tech uses Haynes King. Around the goal line, they do the same. South Florida does the same thing with Byron Brown. They use him a lot as a runner near the goal line, so he has a lot of rushing touchdown potential. And in this game, let's see, his odds to score a rushing touchdown are, let's take a look. He is, minus 115. So he's basically even money for a rushing touchdown. And if he gets around 200 pass yards, 40 rush yards, which is right around where he's projected, if he throws a touchdown and then he possibly maybe throws 2 touchdowns or he gets a rushing touchdown, there's a very good chance he's going to go over 18.5 fantasy score. Just think this is a low line on Brown. I know the matchup against Miami might be a bit tougher, but Brown's done it even in tough matchups against Boise State and Florida. He's looked good. I don't see any reason why he slows down here against Miami. I think there's a good chance that South Florida could once again keep this game competitive. I know it's got like a 17.5 point spread, but I'm into the South Florida team. I think they're very talented. I think Byron Brown's a very talented quarterback, and I do like him for more than 18.5 fantasy score this week. So that's 2 plays I like for today, and then the third and final play that we're going to give out for Saturday is going to be another fantasy score prop, and we're going to go down to one of the late night games, the Texas State Arizona State game, and I like Bo Sparks for more than 10.5 fantasy score. Now, Bo Sparks, his line is pretty low this week due to the matchup against Arizona State. And overall, this is a spot where Texas State is expected to probably maybe struggle a little bit. If you do look in this game, Texas State, they are pretty big dogs. Right now, this line is set with Arizona State being favored by 17.5. But given the spread here, that makes it a lot more likely that this Texas State team is going to be forced to throw. And Bo Sparks has been their clear, top target at receiver so far this season. Now, it's only a 2-game sample, so you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. But in their 2 games this season, 7 catches for 82 yards, 4 touchdowns on, I believe he had 10 targets in that game, or 8 targets. And then last week against UTSA, 5 catches for 155 yards and a touchdown on 10 targets. So he's got 18 targets through their first 2 games. And in those 2 games, I want to say, Texas State was not even forced to throw the ball a ton. Like, in their game against Eastern Michigan, Brad Jackson only had 26 pass attempts. And then last week against UTSA, Brad Jackson had 20 pass attempts. So, his target share, last week he had a 50% target share. He got 10 of the 20 pass attempts from Brad Jackson. And then the game against Eastern Michigan, he got 8 out of 26, or 26 pass attempts from Jackson. 8 of those went to Sparks. So, you do the math quickly, that's like a 33% target share. He's just getting a ton of the volume in this Texas State offense, and this is a spot where they're probably going to be forced to throw, given their double-digit underdogs against Arizona State. Now, sure, Arizona State's a good team, but I still think this, Texas State offense is explosive. They have shown an ability to put up points. Now, sure, they haven't faced the same level of competition, but they did put up 52 points on Eastern Michigan. They put up 43 points on UTSA. I think Texas State can keep this game close enough to where they play their starters the whole game. We don't have to worry about guys getting pulled early. And Bo Sparks has been a big time target earner in this offense. And if you just look at where his prop lines are set this week, I don't think Prizepicks has any prop lines for Sparks besides fantasy score and longest reception. But if you look at other sites, right now there's lines on Sparks on Underdog. His receiving yards prop is set at 55.5. He has a 3.5 receptions prop, which is favored towards the over. So let's say Sparks has 4 catches for 55 yards, which is exactly where he's projected. That would put him at 9.5 fantasy score, and that's without factoring in his potential to score a touchdown. And I think he has a chance to score a touchdown here. He's already scored 5 touchdowns this season. He's a guy that's been able to find the end zone, heavily targeted receiver. It's a game script where Texas State's probably going to be forced to throw. So I do like this as our third and final play for Saturday. We're going to take Bo Sparks for more than 10.5 fantasy score. So these are 3 plays, guys, that I like for today, for Saturday, I should say. I'm recording this video on Friday afternoon, but these are 3 plays I'm liking for the Saturday college football slate. Gave out these 3 plays already on Patreon, but I wanted to share them on YouTube for you guys for free. I have more Prizepicks plays behind the paywall over on Patreon. Some of the plays I've given out have probably already bumped, so I don't know if it would be advantageous for you to go and sign up and get them now because the lines have already bumped. But if you want to get in for next college football week, we're going to have a ton of plays posted every Saturday for the college football slate, still giving out NFL plays as well. And I'm occasionally posting MLB plays on Patreon too. But yeah, if you guys want to check out the Patreon, that's linked down below in the description. You can check that out if you are interested. But that's what I got for Saturday. Let's see if we can go 3-0 here, hit all 3 of these plays for this Saturday slate. Again, guys, appreciate you watching. Appreciate your support on these Prizepicks videos. Make sure before you get out of here that you hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. And be sure to go sign up for Prizepicks, guys. If you're not signed up on Prizepicks yet, use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up. When you play $5, you'll get $50 in free lineups instantly added to your account. But good luck this week. Let's make some money, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.